36 players, and Arsenal continue to get dominated. This is Talk Football, and I am your host with the most, and I am back, baby. I'm back. Did you guys miss me?
No.
No.
Well, to be fair, I did listen to the pod, apart from the Spurs section, and I quickly fast forwarded that. But apart from that, yeah, it was really good actually. Yeah, it was really good. And I was actually surprised that you guys didn't go in Arsenal, especially you, Nabi. I expected you to fully tear us apart, but you were surprisingly professional. Never knew that you had that in you.
That's
But
what you get from the Shiab and Nabi show. Professionalism.
Exactly. Not
yeah,
this amateur production.
not Chiab and I constantly bickering, going back and forth over things. But just going around the table, we've also got Corin from last week's episode as well. How are you doing, Corin?
Yeah, I'm alright. Always nice to be here.
Good, good. And it's always a pleasure to have you on. And Shabs, how are you doing?
Yeah, good. Yeah, really going well.
Good, good.
Positive vibes.
Nabi?
Yeah, fine.
Good. Before we get going, what Nabi forgot to do last week, we will put all our socials in the description below. So please make sure to follow, like, interact. You know what to do. But the socials will be in the description. So please do jump in there, and you can find us all in there. So
I
just
did
to
do all that spiel.
I do apologize.
Yeah, at the end of the podcast, you did do it. Yeah.
Yeah, you're supposed to sandwich the podcast with the two. But anyway, just to quickly start off, we'll kick off with the guys' predictions. They intentionally didn't get my predictions because they knew that I would have pretty much won this week, so they kind of left me out. So just starting with the game that you started with, I guess the Leeds, versus Arsenal. Nabi, you went 3-0 to Leeds. I don't know what you were thinking. Shabs, you also went you went 3-1. Sorry, Nabi, you had Ailing as your player to watch. Shabs, you had Bamford as your player to watch. And Corin, you went 3-1 to Leeds as well. With Click, your player to watch. I honestly don't know what you guys were thinking. That was never in doubt. Never in doubt. That 0-0.
Sure. Sure.
You'll never see such a performance. And you also had the United versus West Brom. And I could probably say the same in terms of I don't know what you guys were thinking with some of these scorelines. Nabi, you went 3-1 with Bruno, so you got that right with in terms of your player because he missed one and then scored one.
What he likes to do,
penalty.
isn't it? Takes a second chance.
And Shabs, you went 3-0 with Rashford, your player to watch. Corin, you went 4-1 with Mata, your player to watch, and it was obviously a lot tighter than that. It was just about 1-0 to United.
Another solid clean sheet by Lindelof and Maguire though, so that's good.
Yeah, I guess.
Fair enough. Yeah.
And you had Liverpool versus Leicester. Nabi, you went 2-2, and Jota is your player to watch. Shabs, you went 3-2 with Mane, your player to watch. This is to Liverpool, by the way, but these scores. Apart from Nabi's, obviously it's a draw. And Corin, you went 2-1 to Vardy. 2-1 to Liverpool with Vardy, your player to watch.
Corin guaranteed Vardy a goal.
Serious?
Oh well, this is the annoying thing. Like I said on the predictions that and hey, I was wrong, so I'm not trying to cop out. Cop out, yeah, I get it. But I was gonna say 2-0 to Liverpool, but then I was like, nah, but Vardy always scores against Liverpool, so I have to say 2-1. But yeah, no, I was wrong, so fine.
And I personally would have gone 3-0 to Liverpool, and I would have gone Jota, my player to watch as well. Even with the United one, I probably would have gone 1-0 United, and Bruno is my player to watch as well.
Score a penalty from the second chance, yeah, as well.
Yeah, I knew this was all going to happen. And we had Spurs versus City. Nabi, you went 2-1 Spurs. Reguilon as your player to watch. Shabs, you went 2-1 City. Son as your player to watch. Obviously, he scored the goal. And
Do you not go 2-1 Spurs?
2-1 Spurs. Sorry, you guys.
Yeah.
Nabi went 2-1 Spurs. Reguilon to watch. Shihab went 2-1 Spurs. Son to watch. Corin went 2-0 Spurs. And Kane to watch. Obviously, it was 1-0 Spurs. And no, it was 2-0.
It was 2-0.
2-0 Spurs, sorry. So Corin got the correct scoreline.
Nailed it.
Not the player, though, because Son
No.
scored.
It was Son and Lo
Kane got
Celso.
points.
Yeah.
Kane
He got an
seven
assist, yeah, to Lo Celso's.
And the final one was Newcastle versus Chelsea. Nabi, you went 3-1 to Chelsea, and Chilwell, your player to watch. He was quite unlucky, to be fair. Could have gotten a goal if the defender wasn't there. And Shihab, you went 2-0 to Chelsea with Ziyech, your player to watch. And Corin, you went 3-1 to Chelsea with Werner, your player to watch. And I saw on Twitter as well, some people, when Werner was getting taken off, a lot of people were going crazy because they had triple captain. They triple captain in full fantasy football. But yeah, that's the prediction sections. Looking back, yeah, you guys. To be fair, I'm just me putting the blame on you. I was gonna say we should have discussed the result, the scoring format for the predictions. But yeah, we always forget to do that. We will remember one time before we come on to actually.
That was the draw between me, Corin and I, by the way. That one.
Right. Okay.
I nailed all the players to watch.
You did. So I guess
Unfortunately, that doesn't
in terms
count
of,
though.
In terms of fantasy football chat, that definitely means you gotta listen to Nabi.
There's a bit of an early segue though, which is too early. Maybe later.
Yeah.
Find that segue.
I guess starting with the Arsenal game, I don't know, to be honest. Where to start? To be fair, I guess formation and lineup is probably the best place to start. I would say in terms of the formation, he played the formation. I don't think any Arsenal fan would have complained at that, apart from probably from Willian.
Was it actually a 4-3-3?
No, it was 4-2-3-1.
4-2-3-1.
Yeah,
Okay.
apart from Willian starting, but I think with the Willian starting, that was more due to the fact the amount of games that the amount of minutes that Saka played for England. So he probably wouldn't have wanted to play Saka for the 45 minutes that he played. But if Saka hadn't played, I do think he would have started on that left hand side.
Yeah.
But yeah, apart from that, I think everything else, to be fair, I was really happy with. Got to see Aubameyang down the middle. Pepe started. I don't know when the next time we're going to see that happening again. Because I kind of feel that Arteta's trust in Pepe is very fragile. Pepe is not the type of player I don't think Arteta would buy if you gave him £72 million. He doesn't seem like an Arteta kind of player, and Arteta doesn't fully trust him, and I don't think Pepe did himself any justice against Leeds at Ellen Road. And finished performance. The first one, I would say 15, 20 minutes, I would say it was okay from Arsenal. It looked promising, but then I do think that Bielsa kind of did realize that we were pushing and pressing quite high. Excuse me, we were pushing and pressing quite high, and then I think Bielsa did quite realize that there was a lot of space behind Xhaka and Ceballos, or between Xhaka and Ceballos and our centre backs. And I can't remember who it was. It might have been Klick. I could be wrong. I'm just making, but there was definitely a player that he then put behind our two centre mids, and Xhaka and Ceballos. You guys know my thoughts on them. I've constantly said before that I don't think they are Arteta type players, but that's who he has, so it has to do with that. But essentially, when Bielsa did that, that pretty much kind of forced Xhaka and Ceballos to push right back, and from then on, they were essentially right in front of our centre backs, and that's when the disconnect between our midfield and our attack pretty much started. I think I tweeted out during the game during the first half that there was such a huge gap between our midfield and our attackers, which unless you're your Perlos, your David Beckhams, it's going to be difficult to find a player from 40, 50, 60 yards away with a whole bunch of bodies in front of them. So that change from Bielsa for me kind of pretty much put Arsenal right back. And apart from that sort of, I would say maybe 15, 20-minute spell, that was it up until Saka came on, I would say. Because I'd say when Saka came on, that's when we probably started looking a little bit more threatening. Because Aubameyang was isolated the rest of the game. Sorry.
A good performance from Leno.
Sorry?
Good performance from Leno, I think.
Fun fact, Leno was I think he was the player who attempted the most passes on the pitch for Arsenal. That's pretty much telling you something. I think Ceballos and Xhaka were in their 20s. And one thing as well that I was noticing Leeds were doing, the Arsenal used to be really, really good at, with your Rizikis, your Cazorlas, those type of players, is they bounce the ball around you really, really quickly, like quick 1-2s. Whereas with Arsenal, everything is right now it's pretty slow, methodical, and very, very predictable. Whereas with Leeds, there would be times where they would quickly just play around us, and it's not anything like, oh wow, but it's literally simple player movements. A quick 5-yard shuffle to your left, open up a passing lane for your teammate, that kind of thing. Whereas with Arsenal, once you pass the ball, it's almost like there's nowhere else really to go. We don't really do those sort of fluid, quick 1-2 progressions up the pitch before. I think we did it once in this game, and it created Aubameyang's chance where he had a wild lash at it, where Bella played it through, and then he ended up having a wild lash. But apart from that, that was pretty much it, to be honest.
Leeds were so unlucky, I think. I mean, I think they hit the crossbar 3 times.
Yep.
Leno made 2 very good saves. One from Bamford, which I remember was pretty near the goal.
Yep.
I mean, are you happy with a draw considering how the match played out?
I am definitely happy with the draw. To be honest, if I was a Leeds fan, I would be furious with our strikers or our attackers that we didn't win that game. Never mind by 1-0, but at least 3-4. Like in terms of the predictions, I know I was joking around at the start, but in terms of like if we're being serious, the predictions that you guys said, they really should have come true. Like they really should have been realized with the amount of chances that Leeds had. But for some reason, yeah, you could say there was some sort of black magic on Leno's goal that prevented any shots sort of going in. But personally, yeah, especially with the Pepe red card as well, the way it went. One thing I want to ask, just to get you guys' thoughts, go around the table. There were some comments by Arteta after the game. Personally, I didn't quite like them in regards to the sending off. So obviously there was a point. What Pepe did was completely stupid. Like there's no defense, especially I think we said in the group chat, like with VAR nowadays, there's no way you can do something like that and expect to get away with it. Like it's just unacceptable. But one thing I will also say with that, it's Pepe's first ever red card in his career. So it's not like that's his character to react. That's why I'm saying that to say this. Arteta obviously said he let the team down. He's very disappointed. It's unacceptable, which all I agree with. But then there was an interview after that, I think it was with Sky Sports, where he ended up saying, I think the team, his quotes, direct quotes were, I think the team reacted really well when Pepe let them down. Personally, I didn't like that because I don't think I've ever heard a manager openly come out and say something like that about a player, especially when you look at Pepe. Like I've said before, he looks like the type of player who needs an arm around him, who needs sort of to be spoken to. He's not the type of player who does well with tough love, I don't think. You know, it's kind of. I get the impression if you take the tough love route, it's going to have a negative impact. You know, it's just going to push him further into his shell. Whereas, you know, it's one where you put your arm around him, sit him down, and talk to him. Whether Arteta's tried it or not, I don't know. But even looking at some of the great managers, your Sir Alex's, your Wenger's, Klopp's, Pep's, they've never really come out and like slated a player in that sense. You know, you can say, you know, he's disappointed. He knows what he did was wrong, etc., etc. Just start with you now. What do you or am I probably reading a bit too much into it? But personally, I wasn't too happy with that particular section of his comments.
Players no matter what.
You're sounding a bit weird. I kind of didn't hear a word you said there.
I was going to say maybe it goes. I said, it's not what I even say. I get what you're saying, and that managers usually come out and protect their players no matter what. But I guess it does go back to, I guess maybe what you're saying before, and he's a bit fed up of Pepe. He's not got much faith in him, so he doesn't really care about his confidence.
But what? Why would you?
Is it?
Sorry, on you.
Isn't it just a sign of showing that he's just out of favor now? Like, and like Nabi's saying, like because of the fact that he doesn't like Pepe in terms of footballing wise, he's kind of happy to say that kind of thing, and it might get Pepe to. You never know. It might get Pepe to react and perform when he comes back. But I've kind of got this feeling that it's turning into a bit of a Kepa situation without being that bad, but kind of turning a situation where he's just not going to get the opportunity, the confidence gone. Even if he gets 15, 20 minutes here and there, it's just not going to happen for him at Arsenal.
I get what you're saying, but at the same time, I guess with Kepa, the difference I would say is Chelsea have got the money to spend. With Arsenal, we can't destroy the value of our players like that. I guess maybe this is something that he's learning as he's going along. I would take Guendouzi for example. You know, he came out and he was another one where he was pretty much speaking quite strongly about Guendouzi in an adverse way. You know, saying he's not happy with him, etc., etc. And there are strong rumors that came out that Guendouzi was sort of trying to undermine Arteta, which is fair enough. But then leaving him out of the squad and then treating him the way he did, you notice we tried to sell him in the summer, no one would buy him because essentially that's if you do stuff like that publicly, I kind of feel like you're destroying the player's value. So I would have preferred, he taken that approach of just come out and say, look, etc., etc. If you're gonna slate him, do it in the dressing room. But at least
Well, I have
sorry.
I was going to say I have similar feelings on Pogba. I feel like Solskjaer is doing the exact opposite with Pogba.
Which is a good thing. At least if you're not slating him publicly, and if he's doing it in the dressing room, that's fair enough. That's completely fair enough. Publicly, people will still be like, "Well, he's a good player." Nothing negative is coming out of the camp about it. Whereas here now, you've got the manager himself saying negative things about the player. If you're a buying club, you're not exactly going to be wanting to spend huge amounts of money on the player. Corey, just to get your thoughts on that.
I mean, if that's what he said, that is a bit of a strange thing to say about one of your players. I'd agree with you that that's not a good thing to say. It's just strange with Pepe because I remember when he joined last season, there was so much buzz around him and so much expectation.
Yep.
Do you think that came with the price tag as well, though? As much as being a good talent in France, like he did do well in France, but do you think that price tag added that kind of expectation to him as well?
Yeah, because Patrice Evra said that. I don't know if you guys saw on the Sky Sports sort of pre-match. He was kind of saying, in France when he was playing, he was happy, he was smiling, but he's saying seeing him at Arsenal now, I don't really see that. And he was saying he thinks the pressure of the price tag is probably getting to Pepe, which I know, you can say it's not the one who chose the prize, but realistically, it is what it is. With a price tag like that comes a lot of expectation, especially when you're a club's record signing. There comes a lot of expectation, and I personally, I don't think we'll ever get that from Pepe. Whether he goes and does it somewhere else, I'm not sure. But I don't think he will ever hit the £72 million worth heights at Arsenal.
Thing is, though, he hasn't got the pressure that he could have had without the pandemic, because he hasn't got, like, in the stadium, it's just the Arsenal 11 versus Leeds 11. Like, there's no crowd like booing at his bad performances and that kind of stuff, or slating him. Like, he hasn't got any of that in the stadium that he would have had to deal with.
If this is the thing again, which I don't understand. I think I mentioned it during the transfer window where Pepe finished the season really well. You know, the FA Cup, played really well. Was arguably Arsenal's man of the match. Apart from the fact that Oba scored the goal, but Pepe played really well that game. But Arteta then went and bought Willian, and when the season started, Pepe was starting on the bench and Willian was starting. And going back to what I'm saying again, that Pepe is a confidence player. The moment he saw that, wait, why are you buying a 32-year-old to play in my position? Because if you look at him in when he was in Lille, I think the majority of Lille's attacks went down his side, just like similar to Zaha with Crystal Palace. Most of their attacks go down his side. With Lille, the majority of their attacks went down his side. So he was heavily involved in the build-up play, all the different phases of the game.
With Arsenal, should you be expected to be heavily involved in that way when you're meant to have a world-class team, but you will have other options that the attacks will go through?
I do get.
Whereas Lille, he might have been the main attacker in a lower level.
But with the way that we were playing Arsenal, everything you even saw yourself, everything pretty much was going down the left-hand side towards Oba. You know, it wasn't like it was evenly split, or not even. It was, we were still getting quite a bit down Pepe's side. Majority of the stuff was going down.
Well, I would say though, he is what, 24.
Yeah.
Willian's 32. Like, there is time he can learn. 25. He can still learn and stuff. And within a year or so, he's still like prime age these days. Is he what, 27 to 29 kind of thing? Yeah. Like, he's got time to like. Not saying it will happen in Arsenal, but it's not like he's at the end of his career and he's done. Like, I do feel like he will have to move away to actually.
Yeah, he'll be loaned out. I think in the next year he's going to be loaned out.
Yeah.
I think the hope would be he gets loaned out, does really well, and then they'll be able to get a price for him.
Yeah,
right now they probably won't be able to get.
With Guendouzi.
I think that's the plan, to be fair.
But yeah, apart from that, to be fair, in terms of the game, like I was saying, I genuinely think we should have lost that game. I don't know how Leeds didn't.
Do you think you have to carry on centrally with Oba? Because obviously, whether he was left or central, for Arsenal right now, it's just not happening.
I would say so.
But I'm assuming you just have to carry on, and Leeds was just one of those games where you just have to take it on the chin, kind of. Pepe sending off and things like that, and just hope next time there's a bit more.
Every team is going to play you the way, press you and play you the way that Leeds do. So, we've got Wolves next. They do press quite well, but whereas Leeds is more man-to-man marking, man-to-man pressing. So, I don't think, there will be. I think we should persist with it, because like you just mentioned there, we had 50 minutes where we played with Obed on the middle, and like I said, we had about 20 minutes that was promising, and also to not to forget, the midfield that we were playing. I think if we had all our midfielders fit, that wouldn't have been the midfield that Arteta would have gone with in terms of Willock.
Yeah.
Because if you look at the drop off between, I know El Nene's not amazing, but if you look at the drop off between sort of the Partey and El Nene partnership, to look at the quality of what we saw at Leeds.
Yeah, Arsenal haven't got a squad yet. That's the problem.
Yeah, but yeah, I guess that's because I could honestly go on and on, like I always say about this, but in terms of my point of view for the game, I will conclude saying I genuinely don't know how Leeds did with the game. We were very fortunate to get a point. I will say, we did play well once we'd gone down to 10 men. Saka came on, and I think he offered a threat. He should have scored, but I think he'll learn from that, because he's still quite young. I'm not sure if you guys have any questions.
Worrying for Arsenal. That's all I would say.
Sorry?
Right, it's pretty worrying for Arsenal. It's not like a one-off performance. Creativity has been the issue since the beginning of the season, and it doesn't look like it's getting any better. And I don't know. I'm sure Partey's back next week, but I don't know. It looks like a heavy reliance on certain players, and it's just not happening. So
And
it's just lucky that Arsenal, like, it's a season where no one's running away with it yet. So you still have
But
time to catch
the
up, but
teams
give
will
it
start to
5-6 more weeks. It won't.
Positions, teams will start to consolidate in the different sections.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
So,
by the end of December, if it carries on the way Arsenal are, you'd be way off the pace.
yeah, and I think Arteta will probably be looking to January because, like I mentioned to you guys in the group chat, we're linked with this player, Hungarian Dominic Soboslai, who is a very good player, but we shall see. We shall see. You're sounding weird again, Nabi.
Another player that no one's really heard of.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean he's not a good player, though, does it? I'm sure when yeah.
I've been seeing a lot on Twitter from like a few journalists and stuff. He's sounded like a pretty good talent.
Yeah.
From what I've heard so far.
I have my
but obviously,
concerns.
it's different levels and stuff. Like
I have
Pepe
my
sounded like a great
concerns,
talent. So
yeah.
Pretty sure they said the same about Xhaka.
Sorry?
Pretty sure
yeah, you
that's
just
what
have to wait and see. No matter
this is
who
all
it
the
is, no
same
matter how
chat
big the
with
talent
Xhaka.
is, you gotta wait, don't you?
I think you might be remembering the Xhaka incident quite differently. But anyway, I guess moving on to the Corin Shab, Nabi, anything to add?
Nope.
Moving on to the next.
I guess quick question then. Is it the system or the players that are the problem, or more of the problem?
I would put it down. I would add one and take one. Instead of saying the system, I would say the manager and the players, a combination of both. Arteta needs to loosen the reins on the players. Because I think I've said this before that I feel like Arteta wants things done a precise certain way, whereas with attacking players, you kind of have to let them be attacking, which means a little bit off the cuff. Whereas if attacking is, if you say, oh, you have to do it this way, go down this line, pass it this, teams will work it out quickly. So yeah, I would say the manager and the players. Probably 45, or 50-50, I don't know. Yeah, 45-55. In favor of the players. So it's the 55 the players. But yeah, because at the end of the day, the formation, the 4-2-3-1 that was put out, everyone wanted to see that was a good formation, but the players just didn't apply it well. But anyway, moving on to the next game, which was the Liverpool game. No, the United game.
No,
It was the United game.
It was the United game. We got
We're going
All
to
right.
see waiting. He's
Corin
ready to
and
explode over
Naby.
Liverpool.
yeah. So I guess pretty much starting with the lineup and formation. How were you guys feeling when you saw the team sheet? It seems like United and Arsenal fans at the moment, we are really well, Liverpool's too, but to a different extent. I think you guys are just more to the fact that injuries that you've got. But with Arsenal and United, it's more we want to see the team that's going out. We want to see the formation, what the manager's going to do, kind of thing. How were you guys feeling when you saw the team sheet?
I think Naby pretty much got the lineup spot on, apart from I think Matic was in instead of McTominay. Is that right, Naby?
Yeah.
And of course, the first question there is, well, if you're going to play Matic in there, then why not play the elusive Van der Beek? But
Yeah, I heard you guys had a quite interesting discussion actually. Having when Shabs was suggesting having Bruno play as one of the front three, and then putting Van der Beek in. I think that
Honestly, that's a genius move
I think
that he's not doing.
that could potentially work. Having Bruno coming off the left, but because I'm just thinking, with his right foot and he can find a pass as well. So, how were you guys feeling?
Well, I don't know. And I feel like it can maybe constrict Bruno. You want him to be a bit more free to do what he needs to do.
that's the thing, because even though it was such a drab game, Fernandes was still so clearly, obviously United's best player. He was just everything was going through him, absolutely everything.
That does say quite a bit about the rest of the team as well as saying how good he is, though, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
But I guess
Yes, in
like,
that game.
One thing I got actually, quickly. So you know how you had Fred and Matic starting. Don't you think that's it? Don't you think Solskjaer should adjust for certain teams? Like this is a newly promoted side. Don't you think? Look, just keep one person in there, maybe a McTominay or a Fred, and have more forward playing midfielders in there. I don't see why you're going with the two sitting against the West Brom. Like no matter how attacking they play and they've got certain dangerous players, like it is still West Brom. United shouldn't be going there with two defensive or central midfielders. Just to me, it just doesn't seem like right doing that way.
Yeah, that's what I messaged Corin at half time saying the same thing, saying why do we need Matic and Fred when we should get Donny on to give us a bit more creativity. So I don't know why he stuck with it for too long.
Does that not tell you about Solskjaer's confidence on the back pairing? The fact that he needs extra protection there.
No, I don't think so. I think it could just be linked to the fact, and he mentioned this in post-match interviews, that whether this is related to how they played as well, I'm not sure, but that he was quite keen just to try and get rid of the whole not having one at Old Trafford thing. And even after they scored a goal, Solskjaer was saying that they maybe reverted to a even more cautious state just to try and see out the win, which it does sound a bit silly when you're talking about West Brom, but that could be a reason why he started with a more defensive midfield.
A lot of waffling
pairing
there, Corin. A lot of waffling there. That's all I hear.
To me personally, I guess I get what you're saying. Like, I suppose football isn't all purely just physical. There's a lot of the mental aspect to it. The players will be feeling a lot of pressure, thinking we haven't won at home. But at the end of the day, like Shab said at the start, it's still Manchester United at Old Trafford versus West Brom, who are newly promoted.
I mean, I get what you're saying. It's just if you're gonna get me, I'm not gonna criticize Lindelof or Maguire, because I think they've both played very well in
I'm not
recent
criticizing
weeks.
that. I guess it was just me just asking the question that, because is this the first game that has happened?
They've always near enough had a midfield two sitting, don't they?
After Tottenham, they've always had a two.
Yeah.
And
I guess it'll take them a while to slowly go back to another way.
Of a mess against Tottenham as well, weren't they?
Well,
That's what I'm saying. Does that
everybody
not
was
now show his lack of confidence? I don't know.
I don't know why he would have a lack of confidence just because of that one game. As I say, we're talking about the third best defense in the league from last season's statistics. So I don't know that he would be thrown off confidence-wise just by that result against Tottenham, as bad as it was.
Yeah, now
Probably
Tottenham
just
are
being a
top
bit
of the
more
league.
cautious, I guess, just to points matter now. So right now he'll probably take a scrappy 1-0 over just trying to play more attacking football and ending up in a 3-2 loss or something.
Yeah, because
that probably adds to the confidence issue, but
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Like,
for me, whichever way you try and cut it, like it's still coming down to him not fully feeling. Because
I feel like Mourinho's done the same thing with Spurs.
If it's not fully confidence, then surely you would be like what you guys suggested. Because if we can see it, he can surely see it with all the analytics, the numbers that they have. It's not only us that he can surely see it as well. That I don't know, but yeah,
I think he's feeling the pressure. Solskjaer's feeling the pressure because he knows that he can't afford another bad result.
Yeah, to be fair, I think to me that would make more sense. That's him just probably trying to secure himself a little bit more time by not trying to lose a game, rather than if I move away from the confidence angle, I could
just making sure he doesn't lose. Yeah, scrappy wins and stuff. He'll take just to get the 3 points.
If they'd lost against West Brom, and you could argue they were close to going down, what with the penalty decision changing, then who knows? I mean,
what did you make of that actually? That first one, the one.
I thought it wasn't a penalty. I I said to Nabi as soon as I saw it, I said, no, that's not a penalty.
The ref was getting a lot of stick. I'm with you. I don't think it was a penalty either.
Well, this is it. I don't really see why people were complaining. The ref made the decision, then he had the technology to review the decision that he'd made, and then he changed his mind. So fair enough. Let's get on with the game. Like I don't know why people were outraged over it.
That's it. Sorry to go back, but I don't know if you guys saw it. A lot of Arsenal fans were moaning about the supposed. I personally, I didn't think it was a penalty. There was a handball where Oba took a shot. It deflected off the player's foot and then hit the player's hand. Who the player was slide tackling the like. So if you see the picture, I'm like, I don't see what would make you think that that's a penalty. But a lot of fans are saying, we've seen softer ones get given. Fair enough, but for me, that wasn't a penalty. Just like this one, the referee clearly indicates after he watches the video, he got the ball. He got the ball.
Yeah.
So he got the ball first and then the man. So I don't see how, or like you're saying, why sort of there's a lot of criticism of the ref online about that. Because for me, it was the right decision to overturn the penalty.
I don't think it's as simple as making contact with the ball, though.
No,
Yeah,
it's
but
not.
just because
That's
you
what I
make
was saying.
contact doesn't make it a foul.
If we start trying to, okay, what would you say? Because the thing is, if it's not ball contact with the ball first, then what would you say?
But I'm saying you could have contact with the ball first and still be a penalty if that contact is minimal enough where it's not changing the direction of the ball.
Right,
but do you think the contact he
in
made
the context of this penalty? Sorry, Nabi. In the context of this penalty, you could clearly see the direction of the ball. I get what you're saying, but in the context of this penalty, for me, you clearly see it hits the guy the ball in the shin, and clearly changes. I can see what the ref thought it was initially, but like Corin said, we went over, used the technology, which is what it's there for, and overturned the decision. Sorry, Nabi.
I was going to say, do you think the contact was enough for a foul?
I didn't watch it back. I was just on the bandwagon of penalty because it's United. What I would say about going... No, I didn't actually watch it back.
No,
I did hear the initial thoughts, everyone think penalty, but I didn't watch it back.
Another thing, go on, Sheehan.
I was going to say, the other thing about everyone saying about he went over to the screen and, saw it and corrected his decision. The one thing I would say is, every time they're going to the screen, they're always changing their decision. Like, it's not like we can use that as like a thought of comfort, because we're looking at stuff where like it's so obvious, like handball ones, and they're going over the screen and going, no, that is handball or that is penalty. Like the moment they get sent to the screen, I think out of like 60, 70 situations, only once has the referee stuck to his own decision. Every single other time, he's always looked at the screen and automatically changed. Like, it doesn't still feel like you can have comfort in the fact that, they've gone to the screen, they made their own decision. To me, it doesn't feel like that.
In this particular, I guess if we try and focus on this particular incident, that's why I was saying for this one, he made the right decision because, I can see why he would have thought it was a foul initially. Yeah, it was a penalty initially, sorry.
Yeah.
And then when he went over and looked at it, he then made the right decision. Even though I get it's sort of feeding into what you're saying that he changed.
But do you think he made enough contact to change the direction of the ball?
Yeah, I think so.
But that's the thing you're saying. You've not watched it back because I've watched it. I'm sure.
From what I initially saw, I didn't think he did make enough contact to change the direction.
Yeah.
I think the contact on the ball was the same level of contact that he quote followed through with on the player. So that's why.
Because if he didn't follow through on the player, I think the player still carries on with that ball.
Yeah, but he won the ball,
and that's why you can say it's like a foul. Because obviously, making contact with the ball isn't just enough. If without Bruno's contact on the player afterwards, if the player would have still carried on with the ball, even with Bruno's contact, to me that's still a pen.
I don't think he would have. I mean, it kind of looked like to me obviously. It kind of looked like to me that Bruno just poked it through the player's legs and that he wouldn't have been able to continue.
Well, I don't think it made it through the legs, did it? It kind of got stuck just like in the middle.
Yeah. But it wasn't like he got the deftest of touches before then absolutely cleaning out the man. I think the level of contact.
Yeah, I
was
wouldn't say it's as simple as that. But then the other thing you have to consider is VAR is brought in for clear and obvious errors. Would you say that's
Yeah,
a
I
clear
agree.
and obvious error?
No, I agree with you on that, but then I would say that that's a different argument. It wasn't. I wouldn't say it was an obvious error. No.
Well, let's move
but-
on to that argument. So, based on the fact that referee
Oh.
gave the pen, and VAR is only there for clear and obvious, should he have stayed with the penalty decision? Based on the facts.
Well, it wasn't a clear and obvious error, so.
So yes, he
under
should have
that-
stayed with penalty at that point.
Yes, but then it still would have been a penalty given for something that wasn't a foul. So, in my opinion.
So yeah, he should have stayed with it. Why is he changing his mind?
I'd say the other penalty down the other end was I'd be happy to say that because that was a handball one, there's probably more points of contention with that one, and then of course the taking of the penalty.
Yeah, what did you make of the handball? Did you think it was handball?
I thought it was because the way he kind of just kept his hand up in the air, even though he wasn't really looking at the ball. He did keep it up there. It wasn't like it just hit it in a natural where he couldn't move it. He kind of kept it up in the way.
I'll be honest with you though, I don't.
Was that a bit of a protection kind of hand up?
No, it was just kind of a flailing arm out the side. Because he protected himself, but with the turning, he didn't need the arm to protect him.
But isn't that instinct sometimes for your arm to go up for protection, for the face?
No, it wasn't near his
but
face. So it was out.
It was on the side of his face, like just.
That's the penalty. Sorry, like it's human instinct, but yeah, I guess you're asking people to fight against their human instinct, but this is football.
Yeah, so no, but
No, but it wasn't like tucked in. But it wasn't tucked in protecting him. It was outside. Out
It wasn't
there.
that far. You're exaggerating it a little bit. It wasn't that far.
I'm with you, Nabi. I'm not buying this whole it's his instinct thing. Nah, I'm not having that.
Yeah,
I don't think I can understand the penalty being given, but I wouldn't say he was that far out away from his face. He wasn't in front of his face with his hands, but he wasn't miles from it.
As for the taking of the penalty, I don't see what the problem with that is either. It's like people know the rules about goalkeepers coming off their line, so if the keeper does that, then it's going to be retaken.
Oh yeah, no, I thought that was fine. It's just more frustrating because obviously it happens to Bruno every time, doesn't it? Right now.
I think if he stays on his line, I said this to Nabi, I'm pretty sure that if he stayed on his line in the first one, I don't think he would have saved it. So I think he was really stretching to get that. I think he was at full stretch.
Because it happened to United.
And if you look at
Spurs, didn't it?
Yeah. If you look at the second one as well, he's actually off his line when that one's being taken as well. But
yeah, he was off his line again. So. Yeah.
So wait, so why didn't they retake that one then?
So they scored.
He scored.
Yeah, because the advantage is already there.
But also, I feel like I'm the only one that saw this on the West Brom penalty one. When just after the penalty was given, they had the camera on Gallagher, the one who was fouled. I'm absolutely sure I saw him mouth, "It's not a pen," when he was speaking to someone. I'm sure he said it himself.
Are you an expert lip reader now?
Yeah, it sounds like Nabs is taking up a new job.
Yeah, I'm absolutely sure that is what he said.
How certain can you be?
I am 90.
Did you hear it, or is this pure lip reading?
It's I couldn't hear it. It'd be pure lip reading. I saw him say it.
Fair enough. Fair
I
enough.
think this is you just trying to give yourself a little bit of confidence in the fact that it was
if you can find it and watch it back, you see if you can see it.
No, fair enough.
Quite clear. But also, I guess just what else I was going to say. Going back to Donny, actually, there's a interesting analogy used by someone about Donny. They said he's the winter coat that you buy in the summer.
That is true. What United have done.
You think you got him at a discount then? Because that's what you normally do when you're buying it in the summer.
Yeah, I'd say, considering what Madrid were apparently going to pay for him.
I wouldn't say that was a discount per se, but it was a good price. I'm not saying it's not good price, but I wouldn't say he's personally a
Because
discount.
the thing is, if you consider his age as well, because he's still quite young, isn't he?
How old is he?
22, 23.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah. Well, he's come out of the famous Ajax Academy, hasn't he?
yeah, I was
So
gonna say if you consider that and his reputation as well, so it's a fairly decent price.
and you consider Van der Sar as well. If you must have got a bit of discount off him.
Yeah, I don't. We wouldn't have got him if it wasn't for without Van der Sar.
Yeah, fair. What do you think about Martial as well? That was one of my other thoughts. Like, but he had to be fair, like taking like my whole Liverpool bias away. I thought he does a lot of good play, and
You can do that.
like when he's in tight positions, he does well, but he then overdoes it, or he then picks the wrong pass. Like there's frustrations. Like he'll have moments where like really tight knit play and getting past like one or two players, but then you won't find the pass, or he then try and take on one too many people, and the shots aren't happening. Like it's like that last extra little bit that is just not there for him, in my opinion. That's how I see him.
Yeah,
Look, you can see the player in there, but he just has
the-
moments of indecisiveness.
it's the clinicalness, the clinical strike that like you get from Kane.
But shouldn't that have come now after like the stats he had like from last season? Like, he had some good goal scoring stats, didn't he?
Do you remember? I'm not saying you guys, but I just remember there was United fans comparing or saying that. I remember there was a United fan who sent that to me on Twitter actually, once saying that Martial is going to have a statue of him in Paris. Essentially, just insinuating that out of Henry and Martial, Martial is going to be the better player, I guess. But yeah, that. So.
When was that?
Pardon?
When was that?
This would have been 2 months ago or so. A month ago or so. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not true.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys happy to keep with him, or would you get to the point now where you're thinking start Cavani?
I think they should start Cavani. Maybe put Martial out wide with Rashford. But yeah, I think Cavani should come in.
Martial's just one of these players that when he's not playing well, he's incredibly frustrating to watch.
Yeah, it's mainly his body language. It's just very.
Yeah.
I was gonna say,
He looks
His
very
body
moody.
language looks awful,
Even
doesn't
his
it?
face,
Yeah.
just looks so moody
Moody.
all the time.
Grumpy teenager.
Yeah, exactly. I've seen pictures of him when he was like a teenager, and he literally just looks exactly the same. But
Yeah, he doesn't look happy on the pitch, does he ever?
No.
apart from when he scores, obviously. But anyway, I guess do you guys have any more to add in terms of the game? Obviously, it was a tight result, but
No, just
I guess you still.
yeah, it was a poor performance, but they needed the win to get the home league win.
Yeah. Kicks the can down the road.
Viewing this similar to Everton in the sense that you're not happy with the performance, but you take the 3 points.
Yeah, very much. I think.
What do you mean, like the Everton game or the Everton game? The game against Everton or
Yeah,
the Everton game?
You guys' game against Everton.
Well, that was a better performance. Actually played well in that game.
I'm not sure that's how I remember it. I could be completely wrong, but yeah, fair enough. I guess moving on to the final fixture of the evening or of the weekend, sorry, which is Liverpool at Anfield 3 and Leicester very passive 0. How were you feeling, Shabs? I would say a patched up Liverpool team, but it was still a pretty strong 11 that Klopp.
So based on the squad we had available, so Shaq didn't make a late fitness test. Henderson plays like that out. Thiago's still out. We had the best lineup we possibly could. We knew Milner was coming in at right back due to his experience that he offers compared to Nico Williams, and then we knew Fabinho, if he was fit, was going to come into centre back with Matip. So based on what we had available, that was the best 11 we could have, and it's probably the weakest bench we've had in a while. We had a few youngsters in there coming in, and then we had players like Minamino on the bench. But yeah, performance outstanding. A lot of man of the match performances in that team. Milner coming in does a job.
Come
Fabinho.
on, Liverpool. Can't have Spurs in the top league. Come on, Liverpool. You can't do this.
Yeah, you got
Come on.
Fabinho. We near enough kept Vardy quiet for most of the game, didn't we? Jota, unreal signing. So far, signing of the summer has to be, alongside maybe Ziyech and Højbjerg, but signing of the summer. Firmino finally got his goal. You could tell from I don't know if you guys watched it, but the way the players celebrated with him, it's like they all felt that joy and relief as well with him because of the pressures he's had of that part. But without the goal, his performance was actually really good.
Even with the miss.
Yeah, no, like his overall performance, he just missing that goal, wasn't he? He was missing being clinical, but his overall performance within the game was actually very good, like better than it has been in recent months, and probably in recent years. How he's been on the decline and under a lot of pressure, especially with Jota coming in. I thought Mane played well without being clinical as well, similar to Firmino. Had a few chances that he normally would bury, but didn't. Curtis Jones came into the midfield, which was a little bit of a surprise. But I thought he played really well. Very mature performance, kept the ball moving. We ended up not missing players like Salah and Henderson because of these guys, like Jota and Curtis Jones coming in. We didn't miss those kind of players. Yeah, stepped up. Keita came back in. He plays well when he does play, but the problem is he doesn't play often because he gets injured, and he's got injured again.
Similar to Matip, or worse than Matip, I would say, isn't it?
Yeah, just as bad. Like they're probably in competition, but it's just as bad. He did play internationals. I think he played 2 games, full 90 minutes, and I don't know if that affected him. But obviously, it looks like he could be out for a good maybe a month or so, 3 weeks, 2 months. We don't exactly know what the issue is.
Still has a while to go to get to Diaby level, so.
Yeah, I guess so. Look, we know the player's in there, and he's shown enough. And obviously, during Project Restart, he was probably one of our best players. And then, these injuries keep holding him back. But he played well when he was on the pitch. But yeah, what can I say? We kept Leicester quiet. They had a couple of moments. Harvey Barnes had a big chance to make it 1-1. And then late on, when they changed things around a bit, they put a bit more pressure in.
Oh, fair enough. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what you guys thought, but I was thoroughly impressed with with the way that they played. Actually, especially like Shabs was saying, Jota for me, I would say has to be the player of the signing of the summer. He's been absolutely phenomenal. It's almost like when you get a glove that just fits so perfectly well. That's what it kind of felt. Jota coming from Wolves to going to Liverpool. Like they bought a player who just suits them down to the T. The system that they play, everything that I guess Klopp wants from his players, Jota has, and the fact that he's scoring goals as well. I would say also, I guess the relief that the Shabs was talking about for Firmino, he'll be feeling a lot of pressure as well. The fact that Jota's come in and he's just hit the ground running and he's not stopped really, and he's just continued Nappy and Corin. I'm not sure if you guys have any thoughts on
Yeah, I mean, like you just say, Jota seems to fit the system really well, hit the ground running, scoring goals. So there's none of that, first goal hoodoo that affects some players when they move. Yeah, I mean
that's a record for a Liverpool player as well. 4 home games in a row where he scored, and also an unbeaten record as well at Anfield. So Liverpool's old record from the 70s and 80s was 63 games unbeaten at home in the Premier League. But it wasn't the Premier League, Premiership, wherever it was, Division 1 at that time. And yes, Sunday made it 64.
And
so that's our new record.
You saying, "Oh, that's our record gone. That's it. We're never gonna get it again. That's it."
You know me, I always say stuff like that.
Shev was so much in his feels after the Gomez injury that he was like, "Yeah, that's it. You might as well just finish the season now. It's done." But yeah.
Like I know we'll have games.
Like I guess your club emblem is the Phoenix. Not trying to be corny and all that, but it
the
does
live
kind of
bird.
seem.
Live bird.
The live bird.
I thought it was a Phoenix. This was.
No, it's a liver bird.
This whole
But
time I thought it was a phoenix. I'm not gonna lie.
no, it's a liver bird. But
Never mind.
yeah, what I would say is people did a lot of people had their doubts after Van Dijk got injured, and then the doubts kept going up with like Gomez getting injured, Trent then getting injured and stuff like that. But you have to say, take into account the fixtures we've had so far this season, with all the injuries included in it, to be second in the table, only behind in goal difference, when you take into account like some of the fixtures that Spurs have had,
You're
I think it's still actually pretty impressive.
Klopp's a good manager.
Yeah.
The best manager
Should've
right
got
now
Jaws.
at this moment in time.
Yeah.
But I don't think you would have suited
But
out.
yeah,
So
I
we'll discuss it,
I think three goals we've conceded since Van Dijk's been injured. I think something like that.
That's impressive.
So they've actually done well, and you can't say we've not been tested. Like we've had some weird makeshift defenses we've put together and still come out with some clean sheets and stuff.
It's
So
what champions do.
it is. And I feel like it puts us back on top as favourites. If anyone did that to us,
Yeah,
we've silenced
I
all
would
of
say,
that.
especially Leicester, this with the injury story that you had in the international break, and then the fact that you had Leicester straight after. If Leicester has come and sort of, let's say, beat you guys 3-0, I think that would have sliced your odds. But I think the fact that you slapped them about 3-0, that pretty much just puts you straight back up there. In terms of everyone thinking, yeah, you've got the metal to probably defend.
Yeah, we're still the team to
defend
beat,
your
aren't
title.
we?
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is great news.
Yeah. I think that might be come a Liverpool fan for this season.
Like you were for the Champions League final.
Oh my goodness, yeah. Oh. I've never celebrated a penalty the way I did.
I think Arsenal fans actually celebrated more than Liverpool fans
Yeah.
did at one point.
We would never,
You know.
never have lived that out, honestly. So yeah, that definitely was something. So I'm not sure if Corin and or even yourself, Shabs, and Abby, have you got anything else to add to the Liverpool game?
Not
No,
really.
just-
Bit of a reality check for Leicester, maybe.
Yeah, it was really disappointing from Leicester. I mean, maybe it was more Liverpool stopping them, but I think people had thought and hoped that Leicester would give Liverpool more of a game than
You know
they
what it
did.
is? I think what it is Klopp's kept the high line, but what he has changed is instead of trying to catch players offside, he runs back with them. Like he tells the players run back with them. So if they see Vardy running, they just drop back again, like rather than what they were doing early on. Wow, yeah. Klopp and his coaching team.
I'm saying actually, we did discuss this after the injury, Van Dijk's injury, saying that I think that's kind of the change that Klopp kind of needs to make instead of trying to, because with Van Dijk and Gomez, you've got the pace. Like if you try and catch a player offside, if it doesn't work, they've got the pace to run back and catch most attackers of the league. But yeah, we did.
Yeah, so if a player runs like that, rather than trying to catch them offside and do the little move the other way, you just run back with them and just stop the ball. And that's what's been happening more now. And I think that's what's helped. And we kept Vardy very quiet.
Now, is Jota now as much of a cert starter as Mane and Salah?
It's a tough one. He's become a starter because, and you can tell because they've started playing all four of them. But to put him as more of a starter than Salah and Mane, I don't think he can do that yet.
As much as
but that's also taking Firmino out, and I don't see Klopp doing that. But to me, like what I've always said in the last month or so, like,
asking, is he as much of a starter, not more of a starter than Salah? So it's like, will he now be sort of first?
That's what I'm saying. Like he's become that, and they've made it a front four. But if he is going to go to a front three, can I put Jota as a certain starter? I think it'll be rotations now rather than anyone being a certain starter. So there'll be certain games where Mane might get rested. And like tomorrow against Atalanta, you might see one of the regular front three rested for Jota.
So, but were you saying that in a front three, Jota is still for fourth choice?
I think it's become a rotation rather than a fourth choice.
that not the
Would you
same
say,
thing?
If he does go with
would
the
you
front
say
three.
this is unanimous
No, but
as
that
Liverpool fans, or is this your personal view? Just a question personally, because I feel like you have a lot of loyalty to Firmino and a lot of patience for him, whereas I kind of feel like some of your fan base are not as
I'm
patient as
saying
you
what
are.
I think. I think for Klopp, if he does go with the front three, it's a rotation where they all will get their minutes. But what he's done recently is turned it into a front four to allow all four of them to play, which shows he still has he still backs Firmino to start every game.
Yeah, but
So
let's say
basically,
you're
what
playing.
Klopp's going to do.
If you're playing Tottenham on a weekend, you're going with the front three. Who's in it?
I don't know. I really don't know. Like, it's another option, isn't it?
Yeah, but if you're choosing a front three against Tottenham, who's it going to be?
I couldn't say. All four of them are great.
To be fair, it's a good problem to have. Like, I envy you for that. It is a really good problem for Klopp to have.
And Klopp's always said it in his interviews, and he's had to say it recently. He goes, if you don't understand what Firmino offers, then I can't help you. It's just, you just don't understand it. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's what Klopp said in his own interview.
You just want reassurance that he's going to start in your fantasy team.
Yeah,
that's exactly
He's
what
in my fantasy team as well,
which
but
is
I can't say.
Perfect segue, Corinne. Thank you very much to chatting about the fantasy. How did you guys do at the weekend? I did quite awful.
Very good.
I would say quite awful. I was above
You did above average, didn't you?
Right.
Yeah.
I was above average, so I wasn't but not as happy as I wanted to be. And I'm all putting it down to Zaha catching COVID. I don't understand why he caught COVID. He really shouldn't have done that. Yeah, so I was not happy with that at all. Pretty much screwed me, really, didn't he? He was my.
Not really. You got 66 points, which is 11 above the average, so it's not a terrible score.
Yeah, but
not as good as the rest of us, is it?
Correct. Yeah, like literally, I got 66, but I was below everyone on the pod here by quite some distance as well. So, yeah.
You've got two starting goalkeepers in your team, Tanash, which is never something I like to see. I always think that's a complete waste. You've got Mendy and McCarthy.
Yeah. I think this I took from Shehab's book, and I don't think I'm going to take that again because I saw he had 7 points. So I was like, when I saw that, I was like, yep, this is money being wasted here. Yeah, so with that one, I might have to take a hit on that until probably the next wild card. I don't know if if it's worth changing out a keeper. Because I don't think it costs.
Once you've done it, it's not worth changing out.
Yeah, that's what I don't think it cost a great deal, to be fair. But I do get what you're saying in terms of points. Like it's not great, to be fair.
Thing is,
I like to swap my keepers personally.
You've got Mendy who's 5.1 and McCarthy who's 4.5. You could easily have gotten another 4.5 or 4.4 keeper who doesn't play, and that's you. Then you saved 0.6 there already, and that's just looking at your goalkeeper. And then in the rest of your team, you've basically got 8. Your front 8 are all starters for their team, which means that you're not going to be able to fit them all in. So you're gonna have to bench one as San Maximan, Son, Grealish, Mane, Calvert-Lewin, Bamford, Werner, or Zaha. Of course, you might be helped out by that if one of them's catching COVID every week. But I think it just means that it's inevitable that you're gonna leave more points on the bench, which instead of having just like a player that is you don't expect anything from to come in on the rare occasion that one of your players doesn't play.
To be fair, the player I would say we didn't expect too much from. I guess he does deliver on points. Was Saint Maximum, like he does deliver here and
then
there.
Why you got him in your team then, Tash? Because he's 5.3, so you could have saved.
Sorry.
But if you don't expect much from him, then you're spending 5.3 on him when you could have had you could have saved another 0.8 by having a 4.5 in your squad instead of him if you're not expecting anything from him.
Yeah, I guess. But
we just want to slate Tanashi's team right now.
Well, I do get his point about you need points coming from the bench with the COVID and with the fact that a player could be ruled out with COVID.
Like,
Maybe don't
any
want to throw
notice.
money away.
all these that's the thing I was like, these are the kind of things I thought, but then like the way Corin is putting it in terms of finances, I feel like a little bit like an idiot now. Like, well, why did I do that?
You can get points, Naby. You can get points off the bench on the unfortunate occasion that a player doesn't play, and you don't have to be spending 0.5 extra for the luxury, you know.
In normal circumstances, yes, but I think now it's more likely that you will need that bench boy.
I do agree, but I still think the risk reward is not enough to justify that.
Yeah.
Sab, can you just repeat the praise you were giving me before the recording started about
Oh yeah,
the
you
advice?
told me if I'm gonna keep Robertson at 7 million, he's got to start. So I started him. Got
There
12
we go.
points. Great work. I did kind of say I feel like I will go with him anyways, but that kind of pushed me to a
It's
certain
okay. Yeah.
definite.
It's okay.
So yeah, thanks for that pointer.
Cool.
It allowed me to get 85
worries,
points
guys.
this week.
No worries. No worries. I like to share the, the.
But yeah,
the
how did your guys' teams go, Corin? How did yours go?
Got 70. Where are we? 74, which is
Yeah,
actually
that's
fine.
okay,
I've
respectable.
not had I've not had a great season. Got got the 22 for Captain Fernandez. Got a late assist by Jimenez as well, which is always nice, and a clean sheet from Regulon, which maybe wasn't expected, but.
I think I did say I was going to keep Leno in goal. To be fair, but yeah, thank you for that pointer as well. I appreciate it. Wait, Naby's above Corin now, right? Because I'm sure last time we had a discussion, Corin, you were 1 point above Naby, so I'm assuming Naby's above you. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, I'm a few points above him. I got
You're-
78.
Oh, and you had Cavaloon as captain, like
Yeah,
the others on our little group. I got 85, just to let you know.
Yeah, again. Let them know again. Yep.
That is a good
Yeah,
score.
I was helped out by my 2 question marks.
What did you say, Naby?
I was going to say my 2 question marks were Robertson and Son. Obviously, word got to them that I was questioning their place in my team, and they
Wasn't
put out
Robertson
a
more about
result.
the injury issue than anything, or was it about the lack of clean sheets by Liverpool?
It would have been the lack of clean sheets and the money tied up in them.
Yeah. Didn't I tell you to keep faith with Robbo?
Yeah, well, in a way, in a sense, you did. Yes, I think you said if I take him out, I'd regret it.
What do you mean? Well, in fantasy football terms, yeah, he's had a couple of quiet weeks, but in terms of on the pitch, he really should have scored yesterday, Sunday. You know what? I'll just have both. Safety. Well, like Mane got me 3 points. Barkley obviously came off injured after like 2 minutes, and then the other one was Harvey Barnes got me 2 points. Otherwise, everyone else got me something. So Leno gave me 10 points in goal, which was pretty good. Yeah, he got the 3 bonus points. And then Calvert-Lewin was the best player I had, so he was captain, so it's the right captain move.
I've really
But yeah,
triple
yeah,
captain them.
it all went well so far.
Having so many doubts because I think I mentioned it with you guys when we were in the green line that I really wanted to triple captain Calvert-Lewin, but I thought.
But yeah, just keep having your bad weeks, and it's great.
You couldn't have done it, Tanash. Tanash, you used your wild card, so you wouldn't have been able to triple captain him as well.
Oh, you can only use one card at a time, but that's annoying. Anyway, I guess on that bombshell, we shall conclude this week's episode. Thank you very much guys, for coming on. Thank you very much, Corin, for joining us once again. Yeah. Until next episode, which should be this Friday. So yeah, Jonan.